So can you really build a guitar out of plywood? Yes you can. Howdo, welcome to King Bespoke Creations. I'm Chris. This is a plywood guitar made with a laser machine. If you haven't seen this build, I'll leave links to the playlist in the description. Check it out. It's an experiment worthy of watching. This video is all about a sound demo. What does a plywood guitar sound like? Does it work? And what have I learnt from the experience of making a guitar out of plywood? Is there anything I would change? Answers and more coming soon. So what is this guitar in its rawest form? Well, it's a single cut, or single and a half, LP style guitar. We've got a single humbucker and a piezo bridge as well, so we'll hear what that sounds like in a minute. And it's 95% hardwood store plywood. The extra 5% is on the fretboard. This is an oak fretboard, and those inlays cut out from the laser machine are done in maple and look really cool. Right from the very beginning, I knew plywood just wouldn't be the choice for a fretboard. As soon as you put those fret slots in and you try and put the frets in, the tangs will just tear out plywood. I'm absolutely convinced of it. But the rest of the guitar really is hardware store plywood. From the tip of the headstock right the way down the shaped baseball bat neck, which is a through neck by the way, and all of the body shape, hollow bodied with a cap on the top and the back, laser engraved to give me some more flexibility for the shape, but also gives that really cool pattern. The ultimate multi-laminate neck. In fact, I've counted at the heel end here, we've got 37 laminates. It's kind of cheating with it being ply, but technically that is a 37 laminate neck. Now, how confident was I about this experimental guitar and whether it would work or not? Well, to be honest, fairly confident, especially about the neck. That many laminates, even with half of those plies going that way rather than that way, that is going to be strong enough. Yes, I've left it fairly thick, it's a bit baseball bat, but definitely playable. Wasn't particularly worried about the neck. The body, however, with this rim cut out of thin sections of ply, and it's only a very thin wall as well, to be glued onto the through neck section, and then the top and body put on for this hollow body guitar, that was going to be a little bit more of a risk whether it would stand up to the task. And I think for the most part, it has. Would I kick this around on stage? Probably not. Is it a perfect design? No, it's not. But as an experiment, it was rather successful. And I'll tell you what I would change or tweak in a minute after we give it a listen. Now, there's three aspects to the sound that I want to test in this video. One is the humbucker. Should be fairly humbuckery. Two is the piezo pickup. So we have in here, this bridge has piezo sensors underneath each saddle and is controlled through these switches down here. The third aspect is purely acoustical. Now, if you've watched the build, you may have noticed we have these holes in this top wall here. I didn't talk about them a great deal because they were a bit of an experiment. All I wanted to do was put some of the sound pointing straight up towards your head while you're playing it. And does that work? Yeah, 100% that works. It sounds rather pleasant. It's not as loud as an acoustic guitar, obviously, but it's definitely more unplugged playable than a standard electric guitar. The sound coming out of these holes is definitely audible, and to the point, if you do that, you can really hear the difference as those sounds crosses your ear canal as you move it around. Also, while we're on the acoustic side of things, give it a strum and you can feel the vibration coming through the top, body and sides of this fantastically. It's really rather amazing. The string anchor on here works for a fantastic little mini wah-wah sound. But really, rather a good guitar to just noodle away on an evening, not needing to plug it in, and just get some lightweight acoustic sounds out of it. Speaking of lightweight, check this out. Yes, 5.1 pounds. Not a lot. So what about when we plug this baby in? Well, first of all, let's test this humbucker out. Definitely comes out of the volume pot, which is nice. And if we stick a little bit of overdrive on there, I do love this little Black Star amp, by the way. And so on and so on. But the piezo bridge, flick it that way. Definitely a brighter sound. Quite pleasant. And yes, we can then combine the two, so you get these slightly lower down notes from the humbucker and the brighter edge as well from that piezo. Very nice. The volume and tone pots do exactly as they should. Purely acoustic. Nice. So what's wrong with it then? Well, to be honest, not a lot. As an experiment, a prototype maybe. I think this was actually a raging success. Can you build a guitar out of plywood using a laser machine? Yes, without a doubt that can happen. We've proved it. So what would I change in that whole design? Well, as fantastic as that pattern on the top is, it definitely didn't need to be cut as deep as it was, because it does continually create issues on the edge, like that, where you can just see that little bit's chipped off, because it's cut down further than it needs to. I was using a flexi wood pattern used with the laser machine, to allow me to get more of a curve out of the top and the back. But to be honest, because it's only 3mm plywood, it's got a reasonable amount of curve on it anyway. So I think if I did this again, that pattern would be engraved in the top rather than cut into the top. Maybe possibly do a binding round the edge, but again, that's still going to be tricky, because as you cut the binding off, there's still going to be sections that's going to want to chip off. I also think if I built this again, that the side walls I would make out of thicker ply to start with. This body was cut out of 6 or 7 layers of this thin ply. I think next time I would use a thicker ply to start with and maybe only do 2 or 3 layers of those to get the same thickness. That would make it a stronger base to start with while the glue up was actually happening. And I would also think a little bit more about the breakneck angle, the fact that this ring that is the body edge needed to go onto the through neck at a slightly different angle, because it's at its lowest point, and that's still just a little bit on the big side for that action. But let's be honest, when do you ever build something and not learn from it? Every single time you do something in your workshop, you know you could have done it better. Yes, there's parts where you go, yes, absolutely nailed that section. But as a whole, you look at the entire finished piece and you know as the builder, there's little bits in there that you know you could have done a little bit better. So am I going to sell this guitar? Well, I'm going to say no, because it's not as good as it probably should be for a guitar for sale from a luthier. What I will do though, is say that if you want this guitar, you give me however much you want to give me, and I will send that money to the leukemia charity that this whole thing is about. The Jurg's Cup build along, you've still got until April next year to join in with this Jurg's Cup. If you decide you would like to send me some money so that I can make a massive donation to the leukemia charity, I will send you this guitar as a thanks. Honestly, if that's something that you would want to do, please get in touch, drop me a comment, send me a direct message on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll sort something out. So, should you all be heading into your workshops to pick up some wood and make a guitar out of it? Yes, of course you should. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Until next time, watch this video and subscribe for what's coming next. The worship series is starting. It's going to be epic. God bless. I'll see you soon.